Another NBA All-Star game has come and gone, and it was once again an uninspiring Sunday night. The game, once the crown jewel of All-Star Weekend, was a dud despite expectations that the league was going to fix it. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said as much on the eve of the game itself. He discussed the changes the league made to make the game more competitive. Welcome back East versus West, the efforts it took to figure it out with the players, all the nuances of the wait times for introductions and halftime. All of it. "I think we're going to see a good game tomorrow night," Silver said. Then he and we got a 211-186 East win. It was the first time in league history that the winning team surpassed 200 points. The All-Star game remains unfixed. Now the question turns toward how to actually do that. Can it be done at all? Somebody has to solve the NBA's All-Star game malaise. Half-court shots, wide-open dunks, and no effort on defense define the current state of the largely disappointing NBA All-Star game. Fans and players alike know it needs a change, and a large one at that. The All-Star game was once a sight to see as the best players in the league from the Eastern and Western conferences faced off head-to-head and proved who is best. The All-Star game is now a sad shell of its former self and a glorified shoot-around. The most recent edition featured the record for combined points, and one of the teams reached well over 200 points. There is no attempt made by anyone in the league to make the game exciting again. The entire event should be revamped to provide a better event for the players and fans. Whether it is switching the format altogether or making minor tweaks, everyone knows that changes need to be made. For some reason, other events like the three-point shooting contest or dunk contest are highly competitive, and fans show their excitement online for the shooting streaks or creative dunks. The best players in the league just can't find the motivation to risk injury and exert themselves on a weekend that is supposed to be a vacation. The NBA and Commissioner Adam Silver have tried just about everything to get the players and fans to care again, creating an all-star draft, offering incentives, or adding target scores for closer finishes. The most watched all-star game in the last 20 years was in 2003 with 10.8 million viewers. The 2024 edition had 5.5 million viewers, slightly up from 4.6 million last year, but still showing a noticeable decline from the 2000s. The 2023 audience was the lowest in the event's history and showed a clear problem in the game. Many argue the game will never be competitive. For me, it's an all-star game, so I will never look at it as being super competitive, Anthony Edwards said. Many players have similar positions, but incentives can be the first change to add excitement. The NBA passes out millions all the time, but this season was the first to start an in-season tournament, with the winners each being awarded $500,000. The first change is awarding each All-Star on the winning team a cash prize for winning. $1 million, or even much more, would work as 12 players being awarded. This sum is only $12 million total, a small price to pay for a more competitive game that will bring in millions of viewers and revenue. The next step is taking a rule right from the MLB. The MLB has a largely successful all-star game, bringing in more excitement and viewers than the more popular NBA does. In the MLB, the winner of the all-star game is awarded home field advantage in the World Series. This brings a huge advantage for the winning team that allows each all-star to fight for their prospective playoff teams to get this huge opportunity. Winning home team advantage not only gives their team a better winning percentage, but also rakes in more money with the extra home games. This rule would go hand in hand with reverting back to the East versus West format. The draft idea was done as a desperate attempt to increase excitement, but the novelty faded fast. Like the American League against the National League in the MLB, the East versus West format allows playoff rivals to play together and have players fight for their conference for the playoffs. Another idea to strengthen the event is a 1v1 tournament. If players don't want to compete in the All-Star game, a 1v1 tournament with a $1 million prize will force competition and generate plenty of buzz and attention around the league and online. Even if star players don't want to compete, you can go down the list of superstars, and it's guaranteed some of them will play. With a game featuring some of the league's best talents, there is no reason to not have an exciting and close event to gather excitement for the league. The NBA All-Star Game facing continued criticism after Sunday's event is necessary not only to capture what happened, but to generate the ideas and solutions that are paramount to reinvigorating the weekend. According to Jeff Zilgett of USA Today, the All-Star Game didn't generate the competitive spirit that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had sought. The league has tinkered with the All-Star Game, going with captains to pick teams instead of East versus West, and the league used a targeted score format to end the game. It provided blips of improvement, but nothing sustained. There is a sentiment that if the players don't care, why should the fans? And that is not a message that makes Silver rest easy. It is worth examining if the game needs to be any more than an exhibition. If money remains the answer, then it should be explored. Players on the winning All-Star team received $100,000 and the losers received $25,000. But players seemed to respond for a $500,000 incentive for winning the in-season tournament. Silver wants something more than what has been delivered the past 2 seasons, so that's what the league will address. Scrapping the All-Star Game isn't an option. Looking for motivation. Anscape's Jesse Washington wrote, "The NBA All-Star Game has gotten so embarrassing, so useless, so disgustingly non-competitive. We need an intervention." The in-season tournament showed that a $500,000 prize can motivate millionaires. Both teams played hard in this year's inaugural tournament, and it was super fun to watch. If Silver also issued an ultimatum that the All-Star Game will disappear unless players take it seriously, that should improve the effort. But if not, having to go without an All-Star Game would make players realize where they went wrong. The All-Star Game had used the element-ending format from 2020 to 23, and it worked. So the NBA needs to at least try running this back. A USA versus the world format also is something everybody would want to watch. One last hurrah. In San Jose, Dieter Kurtenbach wrote, "The All-Star Game is a tradition that has reached its expiration date, having become a farce of a basketball game. It is understandable things have reached this nadir, as players don't want to get injured and don't want to expend any energy on what should be their weekend off. It has been a bad product for decades now, and no number of format changes. The NBA has tried nearly everything to fix the weekend, and the game has helped. Since next year's game in SF is already on the books, the NBA should go through with it and tell the world this is it. If the NBA wants to keep any All-Star Weekend events around, doing them on the Friday night between the final 2 rounds of the in-season tournament could be the play. The NBA might as well have one last hurrah or dud in SF and start building up something new in mid-December." Prepping for next year. In SF, Sam Gordon noted Chase Center GM Donna Daniels and a contingent of key Warriors staffers spent 4 days in snowy, blustery Indianapolis, canvassing the city and observing its operations in preparation for next season's All-Star Weekend. Nearly every hotel in the city center was visited by Daniels and her team, as was every event, from the fan-activating NBA crossover, to the celebrity game Friday to All-Star Saturday night, to the game Sunday. Warriors owner Joe Lacob on Sunday said Indianapolis did a good job overall with the things they can control, and we're going to try to do as good a job with most things and better in some others. A larger problem? In DC, Ben Golliver wrote the league invested significant reputational capital over the past 6 months by promising to deliver a more competitive All-Star game, and the final product, instead, was a blowout that blew away the event's previous scoring records. But whether the NBA can deliver a more exciting mid-season showcase is far less consequential than whether the league's competition committee can restore a healthier balance between offense and defense. The All-Star Game's laughable 211-186 final score was the latest evidence that rule changes are needed. The Athletic's David Aldridge wrote, "The NBA is not a broken league, and it is not a damaged product. But the game nonetheless feels out of balance, with higher and higher scoring records and totals a nightly occurrence. The All-Star Game is an exhibition for fun, and it is not to be taken literally. Yet even its history provides context to why things feel a bit askew. Offense has overwhelmed the game, and the NBA has become oversaturated Points on top of points. Top of points.